Hey everybody, it's Ben Clark here at FUNKe Fired Arts in Cincinnati, and I am in production mode. I'm working on a group of beer steins right now, and I thought it'd be the perfect time to talk about how to pull a handle. Handles are some of the most difficult things to learn when you're dealing with functional pottery, and so many people don't take the time to learn to pull a good handle. So and that reason, it's very similar to glazing, where if you put a bad glaze job on a pot, it can ruin a great pot. And constantly putting bad handles on good mugs or pitchers can ruin them as well. So it is worth taking the time to learn good technique with pulling handles, even though it's a very frustrating process. So let me attach the bottom of this one here, and we will break this down and make it somewhat simple. When making a handle, I always use a little bit more clay than I think I need, because it's very easy to pinch off the extra clay at the end. You don't want to end up having to stretch that clay you have on there and make it too thin. So I worry about the attachment point, how big I want that attachment point to be, and that's how I judge how much clay to use at the beginning. I'm going to start with a chunk of clay that I would roll into a ball. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to create a round surface. So I'll pick a side of that that's nice and smooth and round, and I'll put that up top in my hands. And you notice my hands are tighter down at the bottom than they are at the top. So I'm going to roll these back and forth here, and you can see that the handle flattens out a little bit. That's just fine. And I'm trying to taper this, get a carrot shape. So it's not only thicker at the top, gradually thinner to the bottom, but it also has that nice oval connection point up there with the nice soft curve right at the top. And it also is a little bit thicker in the middle than it is out on each edge. Okay? So that's where I want to start. And the one thing that you didn't see before I started was I cleaned my hands, wiped them off so that I had no dry clay on there, no slip on there, so that the handle stays clean. And that took me a long time to figure out, but that is key in making good handles. So my attachment point is going to be right below the rim here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a needle tool and score up there. And I'll usually just do a little crosshatch pattern here. And I'll do the same type of scoring in the center of my attachment point on that handle. I don't take the scoring to the edge. I keep that edge free because I want a nice soft pillow attachment. And you'll see what I'm talking about once we get that done. I grab my water bucket here and dip just the tip of the handle in water. And then my index finger underneath, and you can see it's a little bit away from the connection point, and my thumb on top, pointed toward the mug. So I'm going to put some pressure right here to get these attachments together, so I need to support the back of the wall with my other hand. So I support the inside of that attachment point, and I apply pressure straight in toward the mug and twist as I do. I don't want to press so hard that my thumb comes in contact with the mug. I want to stop early to have that nice soft pillow there. Alright, then I'm going to take my index finger underneath and my thumb and attach this side. And then this is key as well. Switch hands and use your thumb and index finger on this side to make a similar mark. If you use this hand on both sides, that mark will change because your thumb is pointed in the opposite direction. Alright, once you get that attachment done, you're going to have index fingers on the bottom, thumbs on top, and you're going to squeeze in and down. You see how it's just like making a pinch pot? I'm stretching that clay and forming as much of the handle as I can before I ever have to make a pull. And then I'll go down the middle, that ridge that I made, and very softly push that down. Alright, so you can see I still have that taper, thicker at the top, slowly thinner to the bottom, but now I also have a taper, thicker in the middle, gradually thinner to each edge. Alright, so now we are ready to start pulling. At this point, my attachment's pretty strong, and it amazed me when I learned to do this, that attaching the handle to the mug first and then pulling could create as strong an attachment as attaching the handle after it's been pulled. And actually, I don't have as many problems with this attachment. This almost never pulls off or separates from the mug. So once I have that attachment complete, I want to get my hand wet and just put some water on the handle there, just so everything's sliding. Okay? And the idea is to start the movement and squeeze as you go. If you squeeze here and then pull, you get a weak point and you stretch this too much, so this gets very thin up here. I want to keep that taper, so I'll get my hand moving and squeeze as I move to stretch that clay. I do two different hand motions here. First, I work between my index finger and my middle finger. And as I pull down, I squeeze as I get toward the end. And that stretches the handle and gets the length. My other hand position is wrapping around the handle so that this part of my hand rounds this side, and this part of my index finger rounds this side. Now, those two leave a different mark. So, you have to rotate your hand back and forth, like I'm doing now, to make sure that that mark stays somewhat similar on both sides. The last thing I do, which is just a decorative thing, is I'll pull down with my thumb right on the edge, here and here, to give a slight bevel to that edge. Alright, so I rotate between those motions, rounding the handle, stretching the handle, and beveling that edge. And depending on what type of attachment you like, you could either leave this like this, where I have thumb marks that show a strong attachment. You see the motion of pushing that handle on. Or just take a wet thumb and smooth that down. If you want to smooth everything onto the mug so there's no pillow there, that's when you do that, right now. Right near the end of the pulling. I'm just going to smooth that, leave a soft pillow so the glaze can pool in there, and make sure that those edges are smooth, and then clean my hand one more time, constantly cleaning my hands to make sure the handle stays clean. I'll do a very soft pull just to get the rest of that slip off. Then, to get a nice strong natural curve at the top, I'm just going to stand this mug upright. That gives me that natural curve. I'm going to lift just slightly at the bottom and press onto the bottom of the mug. I'll get rid of that excess clay, and with my thumb press down and smooth one way, and finger press down and smooth another way. Alright? If you fuss with this, it shows up. So try and get some confidence with this. Be direct, one motion, and get out of there. This is worth doing 100 times before you get to a mug that you really like. Alright? Even though it's frustrating and it takes a while to learn, stick with it. Handles are super important, and as soon as you get these, you're going to love to make mugs, steins, pitchers, and everything else that has to do with pulling a handle. So good luck, and as always, send photos of your pots to bclark@funkefiredarts.com, and have a great day.